Going on, it's your girl Messina 610, and I'm actually making this video as I guess kind of like a video response to Bronze Goddess. Excuse my hair, I'm kind of in the middle of something, but I am so I'm making this video, I'm sorry, as a sort of kind of as a video response to Bronze Goddess. Right now, I am in a ladies group, and we're doing like a book study, just like a random, like a book club, book study type of deal. And we're reading this book here, and it's called Not a Fan, and it is by Kyle Idleman. And it's called Not a Fan, Becoming a Completely Committed Follower of Jesus. And it's a really, really interesting book. It really, I am in chapter 4, I think, 3, 4, I don't know. But it is really, I'm taking my time and going through it. I'm kind of behind everybody else, but it really causes you to assess your relationship with Christ, and it really helps you to understand whether you are a follower or a fan of Christ. I'm going to read this little blurb on the back, and then I'll get to the point of making this video. It says, are you a fan or a follower? The dictionary defines a fan as an enthusiastic admirer. Fans want to be close enough to Jesus to get all of the benefits, but not so close that it requires sacrifice. Fans may be fine with repeating a prayer, attending church on the weekend, and slapping a Jesus fish on their bumpers. But is that really the extent of the relationship Jesus wants? Jesus was never interested in having admirers. It's not fans he's looking for. Not a Fan challenges you to consider what it really means to call yourself a Christian. With a direct frankness that you're not likely to hear in Sunday school class, Kyle invites you to take an honest look at your relationship with Jesus. His call to follow may seem radical to us, but Jesus desires it for every believer. So that's the synopsis on the back of the book here. So the reason that I'm making this video in response to Bronze Goddess is because she posted a video about she was in a near fatal car accident on the 20th of August. You guys have got to watch that video. It just really makes you think. It really makes you think. And so if you watch the video, what I'm going to read is one of the Not a Fan stories in the book here that made me think about that video she posted. It says, on February 10th, 2006, I was in control of my life, and I liked the direction things were going. I had a thriving chiropractic practice, 2 sons, and a devoted wife. On February 11th, everything changed. I was heading out to my hunting cabin where I planned to meet up with friends and hunt wild boar. As I drove along, I could see the effects from the severe drought we had been experiencing. Everything seemed to have dried up and died. By the time I reached the road heading to the cabin, it was dark. As I turned, I missed the road and ended up in 5 feet of thick brush. I tried to free my truck by putting it in forward, then reverse repeatedly. The friction from that somehow ignited the brush. Within seconds, the truck was a large torch. I reached for the door handle to escape, but the electrical system burned out and I was locked inside. Seconds later, the windows exploded. I don't really know what happened after that, and I have no idea how I got out of the truck. The next thing I remember is walking down the road to the cabin, telling myself over and over, don't stop, keep going. When I reached the cabin, my friends thought I was wearing some kind of 3-dimensional leafy hunting outfit. But it wasn't camouflage. It was shredded, charred skin. A Metaflight helicopter took me to a burn unit where I was told I wouldn't have much of a face left. I would probably lose my sight as well as the use of my hands. God put an absolute halt on my life. I was so busy being so successful. I was on such a fast track that God was a part of my life, but he was not the most important part. He was not on the throne of my heart or at the center of my universe. I was at the center. I don't believe God caused the fire, but I believe God allowed it because he wanted to get my attention. Like a parent who tries to get through to a child, God grabbed me by the shoulders, sat me down, and said, I want you to listen to me. That was the beginning of spiritual awakening in my life. Over the next 4 years, the doctors amputated 7 fingers. I couldn't use what was left of my hands for even the simplest of tasks, but the doctor said there was nothing more that they could do. That's when my wife, Cindy, asked about the possibility of a hand transplant. That began a time of waiting, testing, and prayer. We spent countless hours reading the Bible and praying together. Finally, the day for my double hand transplant arrived. 20 surgeons and 3 anesthesiologists took 17 and a half hours to attach my new hands. Many people have pointed out that it was a miracle that I didn't die in that fire that day. That's true, but in a very real way, I did die in that fire. The man I was died that day, and God gave me a new life where I am not in control, but have turned the controls over to him. I'm not in charge of my life anymore, but I have submitted everything to Jesus. These days, my wife and I constantly pray to be used by God in any way he wants to bring him glory. It may sound crazy, but I would rather have gone through all of this pain and suffering and all these challenges and have a relationship with Jesus that I have now than continue down the path I was on before the accident without that relationship. And he says, my name is Rich Edwards, and I am not a fan. In her video, Bronze Goddess mentioned how she felt like, how not how she felt like, but she was saying that her husband had to stop her and tell her that she was mourning the death of herself that never happened. And she was trying to find her way back to who she was because she was just so entangled in worrying about dying that day and not focusing on the fact that she was still indeed alive. She also makes reference to the fact that she knows she was ready. If she were to die, that she would be ready to meet God. She knows for a fact that she would be in heaven. And reading this story just made me think about that. It made me think about the fact that this gentleman thought that he knew God and realized after all that he went through that he did not. He realized that what he was doing was a form was like form and a form of knowing God and tradition and all those kinds of things, and kind of being on the outskirts of a relationship with Christ and on the outskirts of a relationship with God, and not a true, honest relationship with our Father. And it just made me, kind of tie the two together. And it also gave me perspective as to why I'm even reading this book, because I want to make sure, not that the book is going to like say, hey, this is what you are, but it's given me a true perspective on myself, where I am. Am I just a fan? Am I just a person who does not want their life interrupted by Christ? Am I a person that does not want to let God have full control of my life? Or am I a person that does want God to have full control of my life? So the book is really good. I encourage you guys to read it. I didn't want to keep you long. I just wanted to share that story with you, Bronze Goddess, and with, all of my other viewers that may view this video. It's a really good book. It's a really, really good book. And I think it's worth a read. So that's all. I didn't want anything, just to share. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.